Jerome Powell's reign at the Federal Reserve is over. What started as whispers in Washington has exploded into full-scale warfare between Trump and the Fed chair, who's been bleeding America dry. $2.5 billion. That's what Powell spent turning the Fed into his personal palace while American families can't afford groceries. Private VIP elevators, rooftop gardens, luxury waterworks, all while running the first deficit in Fed history. And Trump just went nuclear, accusing Powell of costing our country billions by keeping rates artificially high. We should be 3 points lower. That's what Trump declared. Now, sources confirm Powell is preparing his exit. The Fed's iron grip on your money is finally breaking. The house of cards is collapsing, so keep watching. We're bringing you the receipts. And while Powell builds his billion-dollar palace at the Fed, American families are getting crushed by his highest interest rates. But there is a way to protect yourself from these reckless policies. The Tuttle Twins magazine teaches your kids the economic truths the establishment doesn't want them to know. How the Fed really works, why inflation destroys wealth, and how free markets create prosperity. Their monthly magazine uses comics, activities, and real-world lessons to arm children with knowledge. Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. So subscribe a loved one for just $56 a year at TuttleTwins.com/next. Don't let your child be indoctrinated. Teach them to think. And remember, just buy it secretly for a grandson or a niece or a nephew. Let it show up in their mailbox every month. Costs nothing to plant seeds of liberty. That's TuttleTwins.com/next. Link below. So here's the breaking news of the hour. Insider paper. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell reportedly considering resigning. Now, Donald Trump has been taking a blowtorch to Jerome Powell. Oh, yes, he has. And now we have this. Federal Housing Finance Agency news release for immediate release. July 11th, 2025. Statement from the chairman of the board of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, on reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. Washington, D.C. I am encouraged by reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I think this will be the right direction for America and the economy will boom. That's a pretty short press release right there. So what did President Trump have to say? Here we have, this was posted 9 hours ago. This appears to be, this is Donald Trump getting ready to board Marine One for the weekend. Check this out.
Plan to fire Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. No?
I think he's doing a terrible job.
You're going to fire him?
No. I think we should be 3 points lower interest rate. He's costing our country a lot of money. We should be number one. And we're not. And that's because of Jerome Powell.
Did you ask?
Of interest. We are number one in the world. Look, I'll tell you a little simple language. 1 year ago, our country was a dead country. We were going nowhere except down. We were the laughing stock all over the world. And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're number one everywhere, anywhere in the world. And that's all they're talking about is our country. 1 year ago, it was a dead country. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Plan to fire Jerome Powell.
That is Kit Marr from CNN who scored that question. Congratulations. I know just how hard that is to get those questions at Marine One. Here's more. Mario Naval also breaking the news. Fed Chair Jerome Powell might quit the Fed soon. The head of America's big mortgage agency says Powell leaving will be huge. Even predicts it could trigger a major boom. Here is more. I think this is another angle of that same question.
Fire Jerome Powell, the Fed chair.
I think he's doing a terrible job. I think we should be, I think we should be 3 points lower interest rate. He's costing our country a lot of money. We should be number one. Here we have more. This is Russ Vought on the Fed's palace-like renovation. What the freak? Palace-like renovation, $2.5 billion.
That's what they're doing over there at the Fed.
Former official. The Fed has just mismanaged the institution, and we see that the extent to which they've been operating at losses for a number of years now is for the first time in their history. And then you just see a very practical example when you go to the nation's mall. You see the construction of this palace, in the words of one former official, upwards of $2.5 billion, massive cost overrun. And we want to make sure we have facts as to the largesse and the extent to which it's overrun, and the plans keep changing. The testimony that he has on the Hill keeps changing. And I think it just points to the fundamental mismanagement of the Fed under the chairman. The president is a builder. He's horrified by the notion of cost overruns. I go over to the Martin building not fairly often in my role as CFPB director, and you see this largesse. You see the artwork in the Martin building. You see the extent to which they just have built and built with no consequence and no conscience with regard to the taxpayer. And now it's overrun, and you get the sense that they're talking about the gardens on the terrace, the waterworks outside, the private VIP elevators. This is wrong. The Fed has just...
Yeah, this is wrong. Here's more. The bottom line. D. Roy Murdoch reacts to OMB Director Russ Vought calling out the Fed Chair Jerome Powell for the huge over-budget renovations.
Aspect of it is new to me. He's not at all. And, it seems like when Biden was running for re-election, or at least when he dropped out of the race, they were cutting rates, which is obviously good for Biden. And then Trump gets in like, oh, we're not going to cut rates, even though inflation's been coming down. So, yes, that does seem political. The feather bedding aspect of it is new to me. I didn't know about this rooftop garden and all this palatial kind of approach. I think we should go even further, and that is to audit the Fed, top to bottom. Audit everything these guys have done since 1916, 17, whenever they got started. I don't think that's ever been done. God only knows what has gone on in that building for the last 110 years. He's not at all.
Audit the Fed. How about end the Fed? Can we do that? Let's just do that. Audit them, prove they're full of it, and then shut them down. Here's more with the White House OMB director, Russ Vought.
The president's been very clear. He's concerned with the tight policy that the chairman has had. He thinks he's generally been too late. That's our view. And we saw Chairman Powell, he was too late to recognize inflation, and now he's too late to lower rates. The president's been very clear. He's concerned
Too late. Here's more. Russ Vought.
Spending were reduced. The tariffs have not led to inflation, as all the experts said that they would. We're cutting spending. We're reducing the deficit. The tariffs are bringing in incredible amounts of revenue, $3 trillion over 10 years and counting. With those are all figures that come from the pause from Liberation Day. So fiscally, we are very much on the mend. And our point is we want to see the benefits of a growing economy flow to all Americans. And I know that there are people who are still stuck in mortgages with high rates that they would love to be able to go to a lower level. I would love to see lower rates to be able to improve our fiscal situation. I want to see the Fed get back to not losing money every year so we can actually get remittances to the United States Treasury and improve our deficit. So look, at every step of the way, we have problems with regard to the management of the Fed. He's too late, and he's incredibly expensive with regard to his building project, and we're going to get to the bottom of that.
We're going to get to the bottom of it. Well, if he resigns, what are you going to get to the bottom of? Hopefully we will, though. So it looks like Powell's on the way out. President Trump has been hammering him for weeks and weeks. At this week's cabinet meeting, he was sitting across the table from the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, and he said what? He looked at him and goes, you might be a good one. So I think we're going to probably see, within the next 7 days or so, Powell step down, Bessent step in, be appointed, and hopefully we'll see some rates coming down. We'll see that the housing market gets caught on fire, and we can continue to make America great again. So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what accountability looks like. For too long, the Federal Reserve has operated like an untouchable kingdom, printing money, manipulating rates to destroying the purchasing power of every dollar in your pocket. Powell's $2.5 billion palace renovation while running historic deficits? Well, that's not mismanagement. That's contempt for the American people. And Trump calling him out publicly changes everything. When the president says we should be 3 points lower on rates, he's talking about relief, real relief for real families. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, everything that's crushing middle America right now. So Powell's resignation isn't just personal change. It's the first crack in the Fed's armor. And Russ Vaught, he said it best, audit the Fed. Make them answer for every decision, every dollar, every deliberate policy that enriched Wall Street while Main Street suffered. So here is my question. Should Trump end the Federal Reserve completely? Yes or no? And grab your next news gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.